So you're vegan because you want to minimize the suffering in this world. That's excellent. But have you ever thought about the suffering of animals in the wild? Maybe you think that we are helpless to do anything, or that it is not our responsibility because we didn't create this suffering. Let me take you on a thought experiment. Chances are you have seen slaughterhouse footage before, and chances are it upset you. Imagine there were a slaughterhouse in nature, which came to be by natural processes, without humans doing anything. But the consequences for the animals were the same. Would that upset you? What if we removed the slaughterhouse, but kept the suffering? What would you think about that? Unfortunately, the latter is a sad reality for an unfathomably large amount of animals in the wild. Welcome to the ethical problem of wild animal suffering. If you're interested in this topic, make sure to subscribe because there's more to come in the future. But how do wild animals suffer precisely? Well, the most obvious one here is, of course, predation. Most animals have at least one natural enemy. If they are caught by a predator, their death is a slow and gruesome one. I won't show you any footage here, but there's an abundance of footage on YouTube of animals that are literally spilling their guts while trying to fight back predators who are trying to eat them alive. But it's not just when the animals get killed that they suffer. They also endure constant fear of being attacked by a predator. Let's go with another thought experiment. Imagine there's a serial killer in your city who kills one person per month. After a year, the serial killer gets caught. Now, luckily, neither you nor anyone you know was affected. But you still lived in fear in this time. And now imagine that there are thousands of serial killers, and all of them will be free as long as you live. Of course, we don't know if animals feel fear in the same way that we do. But it does seem like a form of wishful thinking to me to just assume that they don't suffer from it. But predation is far from being the only form of suffering in the wild. Unlike you and me, wild animals do not have constant access to water and food. They have to go out and find their food from a meal-to-meal basis, and they are often unsuccessful. If this doesn't already kill them, they will have to endure great hunger for a long time until they finally do find some food. And this situation can repeat over and over again. Diseases and injuries are also major contributors to suffering of animals in the wild. If a wild animal catches a disease or injures itself, there are only two outcomes. The wound is small enough for the body to heal itself, or certain death, virtually always a slow and agonizing one. Most animals also have way more offspring than can survive into adulthood. In a stable population, only one offspring can survive per parent animal, which means that the majority of the newborn animals will just starve to death immediately or die some other horrendous death. There are so many other ways of suffering in the wild, but I think you get the point by now. If you hold the position that suffering is bad and should be avoided where possible, you should be concerned about wild animal suffering. But what on earth can we do? Let's start with the most daunting problem: predation. Most predators are obligate carnivores, which means they have to eat other animals, otherwise they will starve to death. This means that suffering is inevitable. But can we maybe minimize the suffering? One obvious solution here would of course be to just kill all the lions and other predators. And please don't click the dislike button just yet. I'm just exploring all the possibilities at this point. Of course, this would be terrible for the lions. But are we causing more suffering to the lions than they are causing to the prey animals? Probably not, as we can kill them in less painful ways. It's also worth mentioning that rotting out the lions would be a one-off action, while lions killing gazelles would go on and on in the future. Fewer victims, less suffering. Alternatively, We might also make lions go extinct by using contraceptives. This way we could avoid harming the individual lions. More about contraceptives for wild animals in a bit. But hold on. What about the ecosystem? Wouldn't prey animals just overpopulate and then starve to death if we kill all the predators? Well, yes, this is a problem. But this is where contraceptives come into place again. It might be possible for us to keep the population in check by using birth control. There hasn't been a lot of research on this topic, but one possible solution would be to use oral vaccines. This brings me to the next topic. Vaccines can also be used as a means to prevent diseases from spreading. This has previously been done with foxes and rabies. Now, the intention was to prevent the disease from spreading to humans, but it can also be done for the animal's sake. As for animals getting injured by falling or surviving a predator attack, I'm afraid I cannot propose any solutions here. Unless we come across the animals by chance, which is of course very unlikely, they are probably doomed a horrible death. But won't we just make things worse if we intervene? Well, that could happen, yes. But when have we ever tried to intervene with the expressed purpose of making it better for the animals? It's also important to note that most of these actions would be reversible. Of course, rotting out the predators would not, so you'd have to be extremely sure on that one. And that brings me directly to the next point. We need to do more research here. Or actually the scientists have to do more research here, because I'm certainly not skilled enough to do it. But this issue is almost getting no attention at all. And this doesn't really make sense if you think about how many wild animals there are and just how badly they are suffering. I'm sure you'll have a thing or two to say here. Let me know in the comments what you think. This was really just a very brief introduction to an incredibly complex issue. I will put some information for further reads in the description and hope to see you soon.